Hello friends, in this video we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype, traits, GED match, yes even GED match, and ethnicity calculator results, and appearance of a Tajik or of an Iron Age individual from Tajikistan. Actually it's from Xirov Kushal individual from Tajikistan. This is where he is from. In terms of the period, I think it's around the time that Jesus died, this individual was born. So pretty much, yeah, this is the Iron Age period. I think we can get more detailed information here. Hold on, let's highlight that so that I don't lose track. Yeah, it looks like 51 before Common Era, so 51 years before Christ was born to 61 years after Christ was born. So it looks like just around the time of Christ. This is the Iron Age. It's labeled Turan Iron Age because this region is colloquially known in the scientific community, in the historical community, as Turan. It's not to be confused with Turks because Turks were not in there at that time. It was Iranic speaking people. It wasn't Turkic people. Turkic people at that time have been chilling in Siberia, in southern Siberia. They haven't really made their way into this region yet. So this is Turan, but this is Iranic. This is an Iranic individual from Turan. So in terms of his haplogroup, and I actually don't have to look at the haplogroup here. I made my own haplogroup predictor. His Y-DNA is R1AZ645. Now, it's kind of general because Z645, you could be a European with this Y-DNA, you could be a South Asian with this Y-DNA. Because European branch is, I think it's Z282, whereas the South Asian branch is Z93, and they both come from Z645. So I did not make it more specific than this because it would take up too much space. It would be very difficult to code. But it looks like he's got Z645, which is in this case probably he's got Z93. That's most likely scenario here. He probably does not have the European subclade of Z645. We can actually see how many variants he has for what haplogroup. So for example, he's got 47 F variants out of 47 total. So he definitely has F haplogroup. It looks like he's got, let's see what else. It looks like he's got 3 O variants out of 16 total, which is not that much, and that's probably miscalls. It's probably due to corrupted data. You will often see some situations like this. It looks like he's got 28 R variants out of 28 total. So yep, he's got R haplogroup, and he's got 4 R1A variants out of 4 total. He's definitely got R1A haplogroup. We're gonna go ahead and explore his ethnic calculator results right now. I'm gonna show you the ethnic calculator results with my ethnicity calculator first, and then we're gonna compare that with GED match. I'm just gonna give you a little spoiler. My ethnicity calculator is gonna be a lot worse than GED match because simply the number of SNPs. As you can see, with the number of SNPs, this was done with 196 SNPs. I could theoretically do a lot more coding and make the number higher, but then I would have to redo the whole oracle. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. I don't think you should buy my trait predictor for the ethnicity results. This is not the selling point, and you can get ethnicity results online for free. You don't have to purchase anything for that. Um, the reason you should purchase my trait predictor is for the noshacot. Let's put it this way: it's noshacot, and it's polygenic risk scores, and it's the traits, right? It's not the ethnicity calculator results. But we can compare the ethnicity calculator results too. I know a lot of people are interested in that. So he's closest to Punjabi Jats, followed by Большой Оленей Остров, followed by Turkish, followed by Hispanic. Actually, yes, Hispanic people show up here, very close to him. Followed by Sarmatian from the Urals, followed by Burtas from the Volga. And Burtas, in case you don't know, are Iranic people who lived at a certain point in time on the Volga River. Followed by that is by Israelite, Levan Luchta Iron Age, South Asian, but that's kind of farther. That's further out there. Okay, and we're gonna now compare this with his results with GZ match. So this is what he scores with Pondiane LK12. Once again, you can instantly notice the difference in SNPs here. It's 16k SNPs for Pondiane LK12. This is, let's calculate actually how many times more is this than my calculator. It's it's a lot. It's a lot more. Mm, I think it's 16 times 5. It's 80 times more SNPs than my calculator. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's 80 times more precise because a lot of these SNPs aren't that big in terms of impact, whereas stuff on my calculator is all big impact SNPs, but it's still a big difference. We're going to go ahead and click on the Oracle, and with the Oracle, he's closest to Tajiks, Pamiri Tajiks, followed by Chechens, Nagais, Afghan Pashtuns, Uzbeks, something you would expect to see. It's kind of surprising that he has so much affinities to Turkic people, actually. That's because of the 5.6% Beringian he's scoring. And let's see what else. That's also because of the 3.8% Amerindian and 3% Siberian. So this individual actually seems to have some Turkic admixture as well, which is surprising. I wasn't expecting to see Turkic admixture in this time period. And well, maybe it's not so surprising. I don't know. And with the Oracle, he's getting modeled as a mixture of Tajik, Pamiri plus Sahrawi, Algerian, Berber, Tunisian, basically a mixture of Pamiri, Tajik plus some kind of a North African or a Middle Eastern person. All right. Now let's go ahead and check his results with Eurogene's K13. Eurogene's K13 results typically are a little bit better because there's a lot more S&Ps here. So this is taking into account 62,000 S&Ps. So how many times is this more than my ethnic calculator? Well, you can multiply 62 by 5, and it's going to be, I think it's 310 times more S&Ps than my ethnic calculator. It doesn't mean it's 310 times more precise. It just means it's definitely a lot better. Okay. It looks like he's scoring 10.5% Siberian here as well, which is kind of crazy. 10.5% Siberian is crazy for a Turanian individual from the Iron Age. He's also scoring 14.5% South Asian, which is not so surprising because of the BMAC and the even Harappan admixture. And he's got some European hunter-gatherer components as well. Actually, let's see here. He's scoring 21% European hunter gatherer on PanDNA LK12, so he definitely has a lot of Sintashta and European and corded ware admixture. Let's click on the Oracle and see what he's getting modeled as. He's closest to Tajiks, Afghan Tajiks once again, Afghan Pashtuns, Nagai, Tabasaran. Well, him scoring so close to Nagai is also very interesting because Nagai are very Turkic people. But from my understanding, Nagai that are here on Eurogene's K13 Oracle, they are not actually Nagai. They're actually some kind of like Dagestani people. They aren't Turkic. Maybe they mislabeled something. I think they mislabeled Kumix as Nagai. That's the way I see it. Because if you look at the calculator Oracle and you look at the spreadsheet, Nagai are not scoring what Nagai would score, like logically speaking. They are scoring something that Dagestani people would score. And with the Oracle, he's getting modeled as a mixture of Brahvi plus Chuvash, Brahvi plus Tatar, Baloch plus Chuvash, Brahvi plus Mari. So basically a mixture actually of Brahvi or Baloch or some kind of like southwestern Pakistani plus Chuvash or Tatar or Mari, which are like Volga Ural populations. So it looks like there is because of this East Asian or Siberian admixture, they're getting Chuvash and Tatar and Mari as their secondary population instead of like Finnish or something more European shifted, something more Western shifted, right? So there's some Siberian admixture here, and because of that, he's scoring Brahvi plus Chuvash instead of Brahvi plus Finnish. All right, now let's check what he looked like. We're gonna start with noshacot right now. We're gonna look at that. It's not a very high quality file, but I think all of the important stuff is here. So it looks like he's scoring hazel eyes, brown eyes, or blue eyes with an amber center ring. Although this was done with, you see, there's a lot of 999s here. So in this case, there's a lot of variations where the data is simply missing. However, he does have blue eye haplotype 2, and he does have blue eye haplotype 1. If he took a 23andMe test, they would give him a picture of blue eyes. Say you have 51% likelihood of blue eyes, and whatever their default percentages are. I remember it's 51% if you have BH2 for blue eyes. So he's got, it looks like light brown hair or dark blonde hair. So basically light brown or dark blonde hair. Most likely hazel eyes, and it looks like olive or Mediterranean skin tone. Although there's also a pretty high chance of white skin for him as well. For hair texture, he's got straight or wavy hair. It's not a very high quality file, unfortunately. And he does not have derived variants in MC1R. All right. Okay, now let's go ahead and check his polygenic risk scores. Let's check what kind of risk scores he's got. So he's got pretty much a slightly above average score for schizophrenia. Very interesting. He's got slightly above average score for diabetes, for type 2 diabetes. He's got slightly above average score for Alzheimer's. He's got average score for multiple sclerosis. It looks like he does not have any risk variance for breast cancer. Really good to see. 6 risk variance for testicular cancer at 6. Definitely not good to see. We're going to check what contributed to that. This is really unusual, really atypical stuff. 0 risk variance for celiac disease out of 12. So you see, in the out of column, it's all in the single digits. And that's not how it's going to be if you run your file from my tool. It's going to be very different because this file is 6 megabytes, and those 6 megabytes are not the SNPs that are important for this stuff. Those 6 megabytes are mostly SNPs that are pretty useless. Um, the your file, your MyHeritage Ancestry 23andMe or whatever, your file has more of the relevant SNPs, and it's also larger in size. So you're not going to see those single digit numbers in your result. But in this case, we see a lot of single digit numbers like 2, 6, 4, you know, 0 risk variance for GSS out of 0. That's just, unfortunate. Unfortunate. 4 risk variance for Crohn's out of 12. All right, so it looks like for Crohn's, there's a pretty high risk score for that. 0 for Riefenstein's out of 0. Really unfortunate. 1 risk variance for Parkinson's out of 6. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a very high quality file. I don't know if I can make that much content from it aside from the GED match stuff. So let's go ahead and explore their monogenic stuff. It looks like he's got a Yannis variation of DRD2, which means increased number of dopamine D2 receptor sites in the brain and higher risk of schizophrenia. So this individual likely does not have the no-go learner variation in Pro Pro because this variation is actually linked to the Pro Pro one. So in this case, this individual is probably not a no-go learner, which is really good to see. He's got GG here in DRD2, which is typical for most humans and leads to slightly lower risk of schizophrenia and nicotine dependence. I did a little video a couple of weeks back about the phylogenetic tree of DRD2. I don't remember what the linkage is there, but this is also sort of linked in some way to the Pro Pro in this one, in this variation. It looks like he's got TT here in DRD3, which is typical genotype associated with slightly lower risk of OCD and intellectual disability. And it looks like he does not have long form 5-HTTLPR, so he's got short form 5-HTTLPR. For lactose persistence, he does not carry the European lactose persistence mutation. If you took an ancestry test, they would say, hey, you're lactose intolerant. For OXTR and empathy gene, it looks like he's got 2 sociopath variations in this OXTR variation, and he's most likely not sub-Saharan African. For hemochromatosis, he's not a carrier for the C282Y hemochromatosis mutation. Really good to see. Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is simply not in the file. For Alzheimer's, it looks like he's got this genotype, which leads to slightly increased risk of Alzheimer's, and this genotype, which leads to lower risk of Alzheimer's. I think his polygenic score for that was below average. Or is it below? Wait, let's scroll back and see it again. I don't think it was below, actually. Yeah, it was slightly above average for Alzheimer's. All right. For cardiovascular disease, it looks like he's got much lower odds of coronary artery disease and lower odds of heart attack. Really interesting to see. For myopia, he's got GG here, which means 2 alleles that protect against myopia. I'm gonna have to talk about this. I normally skip over this stuff, but this is just such a low quality file that I'm gonna have to talk about this to stretch out the video. For the miscellaneous section, it looks like he's got 1 fat gene variant in FTOs RS9939609, higher odds of obesity and sleep apnea, so he's a little bit predisposed to obesity and being overweight. He's got impaired muscle performance, likely endurance athlete rather than strength and power athlete. Really interesting to see. Once again, some problems with physique and sportsmanship. He does not have photic sneeze reflex and no variants for increased pain sensitivity in SCN9A. When it comes to EDAR, this is something I really should talk about. So it looks like he does not have shovel-shaped incisors and he's not East Asian in ancestry. Once again, here, also European facial traits, very uncommon genotype for East Asians, typical for Europeans. He does not have East Asian EDAR. We figured that out. For drug response, it looks like we're going to skip that, actually. It's so uninteresting. For familiar Mediterranean fever, there's only 5 that was found, and he doesn't have any risk variance in any of them. MCHFR, nothing here was found in the file. For HIV and AIDS panel, it looks like he does not have protective variants that protect against HIV. Okay, really interesting to see. And for muscular dystrophy, it looks like only 1 variation was found. So this is just kind of a low quality file, unfortunately. There's not much information here. Watch out for the second part. The second part is going to be another Tajikistan Xirov H. Kushan video. The other sample is actually going to be a lot higher in quality, so that might be more interesting.